guys, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Bukumi BK Crown. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are back like a newborn baby. So I'm here with another one. This time around we're going to be checking out a video together titled USA to Norway, 6 differences I have found while adjusting to the life in Norway. So let's check it out, guys.
Hi, welcome back to my channel, Heather Abroad. Today we're going to be going through a few things that I have found to be different since settling into our house here in Norway. Things compared to the US that I find to be a little quirky or maybe just outright different when compared to how I am used to doing things back home. So I'd be interested to know if these things are unique to Norway or if these are European differences. So if you happen to know, feel free to comment below and inform me a little bit on these nuances. So the first few we're just going to talk about. The first thing is here in Norway, you cannot have an actual joint bank account. So I found that very strange. You know, everyone handles their finances differently, but my husband and I typically had an and account. So like Heather and. Here in Norway, it is you just get your own, and then you can get a card to, you know, have access to the bank account, a debit card with your name on it, but you don't actually have your name on the account. We were able to ask for, you know, the letter to sign to have access to each other's accounts, so that way when I log on, I can see both. But I just found it quite interesting that, you know, their immediate response is, oh, we don't do joint bank accounts here in Norway. And that leads me into the next thing is I think it's because they use bank ID, which is a little bit different than your social security number. It combines your Norwegian number with a process of verification through the bank and an app. There's like a special app that you have to open up every time that you use this bank ID to log in, and you use that bank ID to verify who you are across the board of everything that you log into that has to do with like healthcare, banking, anything financial. You're using bank ID to verify yourself because most things are very easily accessed electronically here, which has been quite easy. Leading to my next thing is that it's so easy to pay bills because you're easily verified, which is kind of similar to the two-factor authentication that the US uses for a lot of their apps. It's easy to pay things. If you get on your bank, every company that is legit in Norway has a bank, their account number, and they give you what they call a KID number. So you go into your bank account, you put in the bank account number, the KID number, and how much you want to pay, and it goes to them, just like that. There's no like online bill pay process of finding the email, entering the phone number, finding the address, setting it up. They send a check. It's like, boom, done, all electronic, which has kind of been fun to just like, boop, pay the bill, it's over. Boop, pay the bill, it's over. So that process has been so super smooth. And they also have something similar to what we use back in the States, like Venmo. They use VIPs, except they seem a little bit more advanced with their VIPs. You can use it for businesses. You can use it for like peer-to-peer transfer. So essentially you're just transferring to someone else's bank account. So electronic payments, electronic setup here is just next level to the US. And I don't know if that's because it's a smaller country to manage, but it's just been quite interesting to see how they do their verification and how everything gets paid here. The second thing is related to like Norwegians in general. So when you read a lot about things culturally here, you read that they're going to be cold to themselves, you know, maybe friendly, but don't try to like get into their circle. It's not going to happen unless you're here for a long time. So far, I feel that that's been quite the opposite experience for us. And I'm not sure why, but I'm grateful for it. So upon moving into our house, we were immediately greeted by the lady who lives in the flat, which is a very common thing here for there to be a house and then a flat. So you typically have neighbors. You are able to find individual standalone houses, but more commonly they're rented out a space to someone else. So anyway, greeted by her, we've since had coffee, and she's quite pleasant, and I hope to meet with her regularly. She expressed interest in teaching me Norwegian, and so that was fun. Another neighbor came out immediately within the first week and introduced himself. I've since met the neighbor that's just down the hill a little, and I've met some of the kids in the neighborhood, and so far everyone has been quite friendly. Even like in passing, there's waves, smiles, and even some small talk. And my understanding is that it's not typical with Norwegians for the small chat, but it's almost like they're initiating it. So I find that to be quite the opposite of what I've read culturally. And we were invited to a Midsummer's Day barbecue for the middle of the year to a Norwegian's home, and we were the only U.S. American people there. And I found them to be quite friendly. They still did things that we do in the States, they pull the kids around, behind the lawnmower in like a little bucket barrel thing, like gave them like a tractor ride. Did marshmallows. They don't do s'mores here with the graham crackers, but they do roast marshmallows. They played yard games, and it was just quite fun. So all in all, so far my experience with interacting with Norwegians on a more personal level has been quite pleasant. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some of the house nuances. And the first one we're going to talk about is trash. In Norway, we have 4 different trash cans. So let's take a look.
Are you serious?
So the first one we have is rest of all.
All right.
And this is where the rest of everything that doesn't get sorted goes. And I'm not sure if that's what the word actually means, but sounds good to me. And then over here, we have the other 3. So these kind of get tucked under the sink. So these are our food bags in the top right corner. And then we have the food. So you separate all food waste, paper, and then to the right we have the glass and cans. Right there. So it's kind of fun if you like separating your trash out. Next we have how they handle the laundry. So washers and dryers are typically stacked. But what I find the most interesting is how the dryers work. So the dryers, when they're done, they don't vent outside, like very common in the States, at least in the South. I'm not quite sure about way north, but even in Alaska, our dryers vented out of the house. Here they don't.
Wow. The joint account issue, like why is it that you can't actually open a joint account over there in Norway? Like, even though some people might be comfortable with it, like some might say, okay, I prefer to have my individual accounts, joint accounts might cause some commotion and the rest, but it helps the family a lot. It helps you to able to save for the bills, at least save for your children and anything that comes up. So joint accounts, I believe it really has a lot of advantage, and I don't know why it's not really being done there in Norway. And she also spoke about when you're trying to mingle with Norwegians, like it's very hard for you to actually mingle with them easily. Like it takes them time for them to come close to you as a foreigner if you're not actually from their side. Let's keep watching, guys.
Here they don't. So there are like 2 protections for the lint catchers. So there's that one, and then there's another one in there, and then there's like a filter down here that pops out and you clean, and so that is what filters the air into the house, which kind of warms the laundry room, which would be nice in the winter. But the thing that I found the most fascinating, and it took me a little while to figure it out in the apartment, was you have to take out this reservoir where it holds the water that comes out. So in the States, it would just vent into the air, as like moist air outside the house. But here, you actually have to empty this. And if you have like a load of towels, sometimes this gets full fast, and then it stops. You have to empty it and then restart your dryer. So you just pour it into the sink. In our apartment, it was in the bathroom, and so the sink was right behind it. But the thing kept beeping, and the dryer wouldn't come on, and I couldn't figure out why the dryer wouldn't come back on. And then I found the big reservoir under the dryer. This one happens to be on top of the dryer. This is one of those things where I don't know if this is a European thing or a Norway thing, so I'd be interested to know. Another thing they do here on their interior doors is they still use skeleton keys. So all the interior doors can lock from the inside or the outside using a skeleton key. And there you have it. And open. So similar to the States, we have like the pin push system in most of the doorknobs, but they're keeping it old school, and even on their newer doors, they still use skeleton keys. Okay, this is one that gets me. Our toilets. So we have two kinds of toilets in our house. This one, as you can see, looks pretty standard to what you find in the US, except for that you cannot get into the tank. Like, I don't know how to get into the tank. So I wouldn't know what to do if I had to repair anything. I guess there's nothing to repair.
Okay.
And then we have this one, which floats. Like, it doesn't even connect to the floor. And I guess it just screws into the wall with very strong screws. But in the US, there aren't really floating toilets that much. And the other thing, which the boys have found quite frustrating, is flushing. Look at Is that not the most intense flush you've ever seen? So as you can imagine, that is some intense flushing if you happen to be a gentleman going to the restroom who maybe needs to flush more than once. So our boys found that quite interesting to navigate. So I don't know if someone in the US said, whoa, that's some intense European flushing. And so we're going to figure out how to make it swirl down the drain. But anyway, I just wonder like what happens if the toilet breaks. You know, in the States, I would take the lid off the tank, check the inside components. They were easy enough to fix. Here, I'm not really sure what that process looks like, so we're crossing our fingers for no broken toilets. Thanks for joining me again with Heather Abroad. I look forward to continuing to make you some fun content. We'll see the summer's been busy with the kids being home, and we'll see what we can get into for you. But I will try to keep the videos coming, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
Wow, amazing. The other toilet she was talking about, or she spoke about, the other toilet she spoke about, I actually watched a Germany video. I think in Germany too, they have something similar to that, in which the toilet is not connected to the floor. Yeah, it's not connected to the floor at all. And the WC, you know, there's always just in case water is not flowing and you want to flush with the tank in that WC, you know, you open the cover and pour the water. But in this case, there's no way you can open it. So you just have to flush like that. And if there's no water, there's no water. And if something actually happens, or maybe a pipe spoil in between, inside that thing, then it's going to be a lot of work for them to repair. Like, I wonder how they're going to repair that thing. Like, well, only God knows how the old toilets is like, but it's kind of strange. But the second one is not kind of strange to me, because I've watched a video like that. I was like, ooh, how did they actually, you know, build this kind of toilet and it's not actually connected to the floor? Like, when you even sit down, you'll be scared that, oh, this thing will not fall down and break. But it's kind of strong. Like, they did it in a way that is so solid and strong. Well, this is really nice, guys. I really learned a lot from yeah. So guys, that's all I have for in this particular video. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more. Like, share, and comment. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.